Good morning. The Who's over the weekend. Well, yesterday we had the meeting at Warwick Farm, which went ahead, of course. The track was heavy to start with, and it was a bog by the end of the day. Um, I spoke to a lot of people about the Gosford meeting. They ran one race at Gosford, and the meeting was put off. I don't know whether they had rain after that. They had rain before the first race, and of course during the night or the morning. Um, just as well, the Hickey Hockeys who rode at Gosford weren't riding at Warwick Farm, because they would have pulled the plug there. In one race at Warwick Farm, it was torrential rain, and the hoops still went around. The Hickeys who rode at Gosford, they lived in New Zealand. They might have to get another job. Um, the meeting on, as I say, yesterday was Warwick Farm. Now, on Friday night, of course, we had a meeting at Canterbury. Now, at Canterbury, there was a very strong wind to start off with, an easterly, straight up the straight. And interestingly, there were no leaders that won at Canterbury. The track was good. The rail was 3 metres out. And there were a couple of leaders that ran second, not beaten far, and of course there were a couple of runners that sat outside the lead and won, and come from behind the leader on the fence and won, but no leaders won. The edge just taken off them by the wind. By the same token, the 7 races after race 5, the wind did ease. Races 6 and 7, by the time the last was run, the wind would have been only half or maybe a little bit more strength than what it was during races 1 through to 5. Well, the first race at Canterbury, we had 102.7 on the screen, under the 100 in the marketplace, and this race was won by Moss Money. It turned the tables on G Me Up. They met last start down at Kembla. G Me Up ran last on Friday night, and it's going for a spell where Moss Money, it was a heavy track down there. Moss Money sat midfield, and he made a move after they'd gone out of the back straight or halfway around the circle, and it went away and won by 2.5 lengths. The second horse in this race, Spring Rose, if it goes back to the provincials, it'll pick up a race. It was badly held up. Lost all of its momentum coming to the turn, and should have finished a lot closer. I don't think it would have beaten the winner, and the others all had their chance. In the second race, on the screen it said only 98.7, so you can imagine what it was like in the marketplace, a lot less. And in this race, I've got to say, this was a result for the captains. The favourite, the Avery, got the cash. Steal a Pipe, it trotted in. Absolutely trotted in, and it was. We put it up at 10 to 9 on chance. Well, have your 10 for 9, and it started on the fence $2.60 unlayable. So they did back the pros found a few roughies in this race, and when I say roughies, 50 to 1 and 60 to 1 chances, and they backed them for as much section as they could get on. And so I'm glad none of the roughies won in this race, and I was actually cheering for the favourite. The figures were, as I say, were hopeless, and to get involved in the race was no good. And luckily, the blowing favourite got the cash. Race 3, on the screen it said 112.1 fat. There was a lot less in the marketplace, and even though we got the two favourites beat in this race, the winner was found, and very well found, by the pros, talking about Zandretta, and it sat in about 5th position, and they went across the line in a bit of a blanket finish, and it was able to stick his bib out and beat the leader, Long Shadow, on the line. And coming from back in the field, being held up slightly on the turn, was Stay Scutcham, and there were, as I say, it was slightly held up. There were no really bad luck stories in the race. The favourite, Foxbat, it opened up about a 5-4 chance, got out to $2.50 and was poleaxed, or 2.70 actually, and poleaxed into about back to its opening price, but then got back out to $2.60 and $2.70 towards the inner betting, and Long Shadow was backed at $3.40, and the winner was about $12 into, after opening up $10, Andretta got out to 12, back into around about its opening quote. And there were Stay Scutcheon was backed as well, along with a couple of other runners in the race, and I suppose it was a winning race for the captains. The favourite, as I say, Foxbat, it's only small. It had 59, ridden by horseman Huey Bowman. He got track 3 wide in the run, and that was enough for it to be dropped right out and run at second last. It's not very big, as I say. Yes, that's all I'd say there. In the fourth race, there was 102.4 on the screen, less than 100 in the marketplace, and here we saw another leader just fail to hang on, and there wasn't much pace in this race, so the runners up near the lead had a huge advantage. The winner sitting outside the lead, and the leader was Perfect Weapon, Full View, and Perfect Weapon on its outside. Now, Perfect Weapon was extremely well backed. It was $16, or opened up $14, and got out to 17, back into about a $12 chance. Extremely well backed. Now, this race with Kingdoms, the favourite. When I say favourite, it started equal favourite. I think it would be returned a lot less than what you could have got when they jumped. At once, it went up. We put it up a 9-4 chance, $3.20. It got out to $3.50, and it was absolutely poleaxed by the pros. How much the bookies? The $3.50, $3.40, $3.30, $3.20, $3.10, and they took the $3. At one stage, this runner was into say $2.90 or $2.80, and it started 13-4. It started $4.20. And if the betting would have gone another couple of minutes, I reckon it might have started $5. You couldn't give it away. And when it had the blows, of course, something had to firm in this race, and it was mottled. After opening up $4 second favourite, it got out to as much as $5.50, but it only started 13-4, $4.20, equal favourite with with Kingdoms. And Kingdoms, we all know the story. Unfortunately, John O'Shea left the lead bag in the saddling area, and it was discovered before the horses went on the track, had to be resaddled, and this horse played up fairly badly being resaddled, and whether it had an effect on it or not, I don't know, but it sat midfield. As I say again, there wasn't much pace in the race, and it was only a race from more or less the 600 to the winning post, and when they sprinted at the 600, Mottled, who was on the back of Kingdoms, they never had to turn a foot, and the leaders got away, and they couldn't catch them. By the same token, Kingdoms finished up running second and didn't need many more strides to put his bib in front. Would have won it, ducked in after they turned for home, and all the things that happened prior to the race, and so forth and so forth. Cassaholic, it got a charm run straight right behind the lead, a bit one-paced, and was held up trying to get a run, but it would have finished closer. It might have even won the race if everything fell into place, but it was a fairly ordinary event. Race 5, there was 108.1 on the screen, and here we saw the very well-backed Chiamonte win this race. It opened up a $5.50 chance, got out to as much as $7. It only started at $5.50, extremely well-backed. Whereas, Seamus, who started favourite, might have been $4 when they jumped Seamus, and you could load up on it at $3.70 or $3.80 at one stage of the betting. The runner that was very hard to lay in this race was Mercier, who got trapped 3 wide in the run, so its run can be overlooked. And as I say, there was 108.1 on the screen, less in the marketplace. But besides Mercier and one or two other runners, there were quite a number of runners backed in this race. You could lay Tishan Black, you could lay Set to Go, you could lay Seamus, you lay Net Worth, you could lay most certainly the winner, as Chiamonte. Liechtenstein was hard to lay. You could lay Eminent Domain and also Kangista and Oompa Loompa. And the winner sat third on the fence. When they turned for home, the leader and favourite, Seamus, it hung under a bit of pressure, and there was a stack of room inside it. And of course, terrific Tommy Berry was presented the race and went straight along the 18 pence and won by about a length and a quarter or so, having every possible chance. The Grumble and Grunters knew it had barrier 2 before they jumped, and they must have said to themselves, this is going to get a good run, which it did, and that's what finished up happening. Now, race 6 on the screen for the Robots. Sorry, Robots, 98.9 only, and but down in the marketplace there was a lot less. And this race was won by Segway, number 3, and you could more or less, it's easy now of course, but you could say when they were down the halfway along the back straight how the race had panned out at that stage, that Segway was going to be very hard to beat, because coming across from barrier 9 in a field of 10, it lobbed into the 1 out 1 back position, and leading on the fence was Grand Cooler, who's a bit weak and also had to put up with the wind, and then Roll the Bones, the favourite, on its outside, and tucked in behind on the fence was Shadow Line, and on its outside the winner. And well back in the field was Matignon in about third last position. It finished up running second, and when they turned for home, or just before they turned for home, Segway moved up wide, and it was a bit too strong and held Matignon to the line, and it ran third. Tigress Baby, it came from second last position, Tigress Baby, along the fence, and made up a lot of ground. It was an extremely good run, and it was backed very late. As I say, the figures in the race were hopeless. The Flux Matignon went from $3.50 out to $4.60, back into $4.20, back out to $4.40. Segway, a big result for the captains, although $12 was given late on the fence, and I thought, and most probably was taken. It opened up about a $8 chance and got out to 12, back into 11, but a good result for the captains. Shadow Line was back when it got to $15, back into about 14 or 13. Cameo, you couldn't write its name, $11 to 20. Grand Cooler, very well backed, $13 into $8.50. Roll the Bones, always layable, $4.40 bet early, came into $3.80. You could lay whatever you want at $3.80 or $3.70. And of course, they took the $4 and the $4.40 early. Plastic Fantastic was hard to lay at $16. Tigress Baby back late at $9.50 and $9. Bonzarina, $31, and Flying Hope, $51. Possibly Tigress Baby was the best run in the race. And we came to the last, and on the screen there was only 100.8, and our chief pro, the chief of the pros, he had, you take your hat off to him, he ace-deuced the captains here. He backed first and second for whatever section he could get on them. Now, he backed the winner 3 times or 4 times, and he kicked off backing it first. I'm talking about 10 to 0. That's what it felt like in my bag. I went from 10, and at the finish there was 0 in the bag, because the pros, they got the lot. We put it up $15. Well, I bet 15. I didn't like 10 to 0. It sat outside the leader, as I say, City of Light. It was funny early. The favourite pinged the boxes, Rich and Famous, straight to lead. But then, of course, City of Light, trained by Gay, I own the lead. It moved up wide, and it crossed and went to the lead. This put the favourite, Rich and Famous, back on the fence behind it, and coming and sitting outside City Light was the eventual winner, 10-0. And they ran first, second, and third. Now getting back to the Flux, 10-0, $15. How much? 14, whatever you want. 13, yes, another plate as well. 12, whatever you want. 11, whatever you want. And so now it's $10 more or less. $10 to $11, fairly hard to get. 10-0, with every bookie on the ground laying it. And then, of course, this meant that the favourite had gone now from Rich and Famous from $3 out to $3.50, and then the pro stepped into the $3.50 Rich and Famous for whatever you want at the $3.50, $40, $3.30, $3.20, and the $3, and it was into $2.90. Now, when it got to $2.90, he stepped into the $10, the winner now, had another plate of the winner, 10-0, and took all the 10 and all the 9 in the same wave. This meant the favourite got back at the $3, and then he had another large plate of the favourite, back into $2.80, $2.70, and then had the hide to take the $8.50, the winner, 10-0, and also the $2.70, the favourite. It started $2.50, favourite Rich and Famous, and 10-0 started $8. And we all should clap, and he cornelled the race. And the margins were slim, about a head by 3/4 of a length. The three leaders running first, second, and third. And that was about the meeting. There was no bias on the track, except the leaders were slightly affected by the wind. Then we came to Warwick Farm yesterday. Now the track was heavy to start off with. I'd say, it was a heavy 8 to start off with. The surface water, well, even in the betting ring, the betting ring, to go from the outside ring across to the rails, especially towards the interstate ring, you only had to go through a few inches of water. All the drains are blocked up, of course. It's a pretty shabby place, Warwick Farm. It used to be a picturesque course, as I've written before. But now, of course, the TAB's in charge, aren't they? All the tote houses in the Ledger, and that used to be in the Ledger, and even in the paddock, they're all just shambles falling down. It's like a bombed town in Europe, Warwick Farm Racecourse. That's as a disgrace. As I told you, I went over to Western Australia recently, and over there, Ascot Racecourse. What a beautiful place! It makes Warwick Farm look like a dive. Oh my God, a 2-bit dive. It's all well groomed and painted, and the facilities for the punters, it's all undercover, big and airy. You haven't got far to see the walk, to see the horses. The winning post is right there, and go on. Warwick Farm, what a low joint. Anyway, the track was heavy to start off with, heavy 8, and it got to a heavy 28. And especially, it was a heavy 28 during, what race was it? During race 6. Torrential rain. As I say, just as well the hickey hockeys who rode at Gosford weren't around at the barrier at race 6 at Warwick Farm, they would have gone home. They would have jumped off and tied the horses to the rail and gone home. But the hickey hockeys who were at Warwick Farm, those good boys, they said, come on, put them in, let's go. And they did. But anyway, the track was very heavy, and the rail was 5 metres out from the 1400 to the winning post, and after the winning post was 3 metres out. And you close to the look. A couple of runners were close. Will Dane lead later on in the day. Of course, in that heavy, when it was torrential rain, it stayed close to the fence, making up ground. It was the only place for the pumper to go. But off the fence was better. We saw that, I think, in the second race. But in this first race yesterday, Warwick Farm, on the screen they said there was only 100.3 in the marketplace, under the 100, about 98, 99. and the race was won by Marden. It was possibly a result for the captains, even though we bet losing figures. There was very, very little action. No punters. It was they should make put a why we've got to park a long way away and walk into the track. I don't know why not let everybody park in the betting ring. There's a stack of room. Park all the cars just around the betting ring, and after the last, just hop in our cars and drive home. No one standing there. The winner, as I say, Marden, it was $3. Well, the flux in this race were Big Spotter, $10 only out to 20. Thurbian, $8 to 13. Marden, $3.50 out to 4.60. Planetarium, $5 taken into 4.60, 4.80, back out to $5, started 4.80. Sindarin, backed at one stage at 3.80, but started $4. Agent Bauer, very well backed, $9 into about $6.50 or $7, very hard to get $6.50. And the second place getter, Now I See, which appeared to be gone at the 600 metre mark, kept on plugging away. It was $14 into $6.50 or $7. Now I See. When they turned for home, leading was Now I See, with the pumper on board. He showed what a great horseman he is to get it to run second, a lot of strength, and of course with the 3 kilos off for Jay Cassidy's allowance. But Marden was a bit too strong. It moved up 3 wide on the turn, put his bib in front, and was able to plug away and beat Now I See by 3/4 of a length. And they got away from the others. They beat the others easy by, was 4 3/4 lengths away to the third horse, a team of pluggers. Race 2, well here, because of the downgrade of the track, we saw 9th Legion scratch before betting went up, but when they got around to the barriers, Excited Prince, it played up in the barrier, or it might have been lame. It was also scratched when it got around to the barrier. It was the pumper thought that it felt a bit funny in its action getting around to the barrier. Hadn't got the vet to have a look at it, and it proved it was lame. It was $9 into $8, back out to $9 before it was scratched when they got around to the barrier. As I say, this race was won by Zinzanati. On the screen, as I've already told you, 103.1, only 98 in the marketplace. Flux in this race, Turnley was $6 out to $7.50, back into $6. Zinzanati, even though it started the $9, it was $9 killed for at one stage into 8. Opened up 6, got out to, or 7, got out to $9, back into 8, back out to the $9. Neudart, bookies reached for it. You could lay it. 5 to 4 out to $3 given about Neudart. Only started $2. It started $2.80. Bit disappointing. It loomed up as if the race was over on the turn, but the winner went straight past it. Gold Epona, it went from about $11 chance out to 15. Diamond Drill, labelled at one stage at $5 for whatever you wanted, but started $5. Lansdowne Road, they took $31 and $26. And Song and Laughter, before it was scratched, as I say, you could lay it at $9. And in the small field of 6 runners that finished up going around, when they turned for home, Zinzanati, the way the race panned out, it was on the back of Neudart. Neudart had moved up to the 2 leaders, Turnley and Lansdowne Road, and was coasting. It got past them easy, but Zinzanati got past it just as easy and beat it by 3 lengths. Well, it actually came through and ran second, Diamond Drill, who was closest to the fence. So the section there might have been a little bit worse, and it can only hang on for third, Neudart, very disappointing. Race, maybe the trip to Melbourne might have knocked it about a bit. Race 3, in the marketplace there was 101.7, but in the on the screen for the robots 101.7, but in the marketplace only 95%. These were the flux quickly. Marcel Roulette went from a $7 chance out to $8.50, back into 7. Rockford, and the $9 out to 12, back into 11. A Good Job Bro, first runner backed. The captains put up $4.80, and it was back straight away into $4.20. Got back out to $4.60, but then came back into start $4 extremely hard to get. Now, calming influence, it was extremely hard to lay calming influence. I haven't put its name in the ledger yet. It opened up a 6-4 chance, and it started $4.20. It got the blows in the ring. The next runner never moved off its opening quote. Champillion, it opened up a $17 chance and never moved, and it ran third. Champillion. Mr. Jackman, once we got it to $21, it was backed, started 18. Northern Jewel, $17 taken, started about 16. Par Fury, very well backed, as much as $15 given about Par Fury, and it only started at $8.50 chance. Senior Council was 101. All That I Am was $31.26 or even 20, and the bottom one was backed as well. Sovereign Bid from 40 into 26. Plenty of runners backed in the race, including the winner and the opening favourite, Calming Influence. It more or less didn't have a price. It was very hard to lay. It ran a good race. It led on the fence. I Own the Lead. Marcel Roulette. The winner sat on us outside. It was jogging coming to the turn. Tucked in behind them was the favourite, Calming Influence, who copped a couple of little slight prats and caused a bit of interference to Rockford. No fault of the pumpers. Rockford got blundered very badly, and the race was over when they turned for home. And in this race, they stayed fairly close to the fence, the closest all day. But as I say, the race was over on the turn, and when the winner was absolutely coasting and just went straight past Manswell Roulette and put 2.5 lengths on the favourite, Calming Influence, and that turned out to be the margin when they got down to the line, about 2.8 lengths. The winner by far the best run. Race 4. Now this was disgraceful here for the captains. You couldn't bet round in this race. You couldn't bet round here. You bet over round. But on the screen, sorry for the robots, tucked up in the grandstands, there was only 93% on the flux screen. 93 in the marketplace, 89. These were the flux. Appearance, $3.50 out to $4.60 taken into $4.40, back out to the $4.60. Nocturnal, $3.50 out to $4.60, killed for, started $3.50 favourite. Colorado Clear. Would the owners of Colorado Clear please step forward? $3.20 to $8, Colorado Clear. She's Clean. She's Clean. The owners of She's Clean are here. $6 put up straight away when the betting went up. She's Clean. How much do you want on She's Clean, captains? $6 into $5.50 into $5, $4.80, $4.60, $4.40, $4.20, $4. Thank you very much. Started clear second favourite, She's Clean, and got the chocolates. Californian Storm, $15 taken into about 14. Mickelberg, $21 into about 17. In Top Gear, $71 given, started 41. And Bella Rossi, 26 into about $18. It went straight to the lead, California Storm. On its outside, Mickelberg. Tucked in behind them from barrier 1 was Bella Rossi on its outside, Appearance. The pumper on the winner, She's Clean, looking at Appearance. And then we had Colorado Clear, Mickelberg, and after missing the kick slightly was Nocturnal back in last position. When they turned for home, the leader, California Storm, ridden by Clipperton, moved off the fence looking for a little bit better going, and when he did that, he blundered, caused a chain reaction. It went onto Mickelberg, who went onto Appearance, who went onto the winner, but the winner was a bit too strong and beat Appearance by about a head getting down to the line. But both of them slogging it out, with Nocturnal and Colorado Clear both running good races in the second, third and fourth hole. Race 5, here we had 106.1 on the screen and only 97% in the marketplace. And this race was won by the Avery, Jackanow Bay, It's only fallen in. Running second in this race was Bray Rowan. It would have been as big a result as when the tortoise beat the hare, because it was the rank outsider in the field at 100 to 1. Nobody had $100 to 1 with me. And it went along the fence coming from third last position, and only got beat to 0.2 of a length. As I say, it would have been an enormous result for the captains, but it wasn't to be. The Avery got the cash, got into a lovely position the way the track was playing, ridden by Bold Blake Shin. And interestingly, after Bold Blake Shin rode this winner, one of our regular goers, he asked me, is there anyone, to the bookies or whoever, do they bet on the Jockeys Premiership? Well, I think people bet between themselves on the Jockeys Premiership, but I don't think anyone actually puts a market up. And I said, why is that? He said, well, I want to back Bold Blake Shin to win the Premiership next year. Well, there's a tip. He might have come back nice and fresh after his rejuvenation. Good luck to him. Anyway, he put it into a lovely position, and when they turned for home, of course, he just was easing off their heels, smoking his pipe, and being the widest runner, sliding into the race. If you stop frame the race there, of course, you'd have to say to yourself, well, this runner will just run away now and win by a couple of lengths. But it wasn't the case. He did run up to them and appeared to always have them covered down the straight, but as I say, only fell in. And there was one runner in this race, was Deceiver, who was in between runners in about sixth position, turning for home, fifth or sixth position. It was badly held up. It seemed horses were held up, of course, but it was held up from the furlong pole to the winning post. And I think if the split would have come at the furlong, it would have gone through and won, not by far, but it most probably would have won the race. Deceiver, a big improvement on its last run at Warwick Farm, and I reached for it and got it out to $10, which I shouldn't have. I did lay it, and for a good bit of section, it only started $9. Now in this race, these were the flux. Z line went from $9 out to 11, back into $8.50. Bray Rowan went up 100 and never moved. Eaglestein, the import, went from 11 to 15. Jacqueline Bay, we put it up 3 to 1 at $3. And got out to 5 to 2, $3.50. Now they SP'd it at $2.80, but unfortunately, if you did back at SP, you got ROBBED. It was $3.20 on the track. It always pays to be the track. Why in the hell would you not be at the track? It was $3.20 when they jumped Jack and Obey. Territory only went from $7 out to 10. Moss of Mine was 16 out to 20, back into 19. No Bad Blood. I didn't want to miss No Bad Blood. Every fool's got to be right, and every now and again, and that includes me. I'm only right every now and again, and I wanted to give $7 No Bad Blood, which I did give for a good bit of section, and it was $5 taken at the death. It finished last. It's not worth a case of No Bad Blood, in my opinion. Deceiver went up at $9 and got out to 11 and was back into $8.50. Exotic Escape went up an $8 or $9 chance, got out to 10, killed 4, and the 9 was even taken at one stage into $8.50, but started 10. And the bottom one, Youthful King, $25 into $21 and ran a good race, wasn't beaten far. It ran third after sitting about third or fourth on the fence. As I say, run the race again, you get a different result. Most probably the Deceiver was a bit unlucky in that race. Now we got to race 6, and here there was 103.6 on the screen, but gee whiz, a lot less in the marketplace. There's only 94% in the marketplace. These were the flux. Well, first of all, Shootout, permission was given to scratch it because of the downgrade of the track before the betting went up. So we were left with a field of 12. Dane Lee, its stablemate, it went from $6 out to 10. Albert the Fat, another stablemate, it went from 13 out to 18. Glencaddam Gold, would the owners of Glencaddam Gold please step forward, please? $2.60 out to $6, back into $5.50, only because we gave 94. but it never had a price. I never put its name in the ledger. 13-8, a 13-8 chance out to $6. This was the race where the race was run in torrential rain 5 minutes before they jumped off, 4 minutes, whatever it was. The heavens opened up, and it was really, really heavy. The rain, I'm in the outside ring. The rain was coming in the back. It was coming in the front. The betting ring was flooded. Everything you touch at Warwick Farm, I wash my hands after every race at Warwick Farm, because you're absolute. If you touch the stand or anywhere, it's so the joint's so putrid. You've got to get your clothes dry cleaned after you leave Warwick Farm. And it was coming in the back, the roof leaking. Oh Jesus! Anyway, this race was run in torrential rain, and Glencaddam Gold, as I say, it went from $2.60 to $6 back into $5.50. Its stablemate Laser Hawk. Now, as soon as we put up $6.50, it was poleaxe. It was, I never wound $4.80 off, and the SP and what was started on my board were two different things. I think they returned to $4.60. I was $5.50 when they jumped. Laser Hawk. It led and it caved in. It had a problem with its feet, apparently, Gay has reported. Collini, well back from $21 into about $13. Gatewood, extremely well backed, $21 given into about $13. Monton, they took it was hard to lay. It went from $12 to $16. Centennial Park, no, Monton was $17 taken at back into $16. Centennial Park hard to lay from about $12 out to $16. Willie Jimmy 40 to $61. Alma's Fury the winner. I laid it at $26 and also at $31 Alma's Fury, ridden by Bold Black Shin. Dr. Gloom 26 to $41, and the bottom one. Now it finished up starting favourite in this race, and it ran second, and tougher than ever. It sat outside the leader, Laser Hawk, but getting onto its back as soon as they turned for home after getting a good run in exactly the right position of the track was the winner, Alma's Fury, and it beat it by 0.4 of a length on the line. It was $6 into $4.40 or $4.40, very hard to get at the end of the betting. It was the last runner they backed, and they just wanted one runner in the last 2 minutes of betting, and that was tougher than ever, starting favourite at about $4.40. Now, the way the race was run, I've got to sit down and after I do this, dissect this meeting. As I say, it was torrential rain. It was hard to pick up the runners. I do know that it led on the fence, Laser Hawk, with the second horse on its outside, and when they had swung for home, the winner, Alma's Fury, had got into that lovely position and was able to outslog the favourite, tougher than ever, near the line, to beat it by 0.4 of a length. And Dane Lee, well, the pumper settled back well back in the race in the field where he was always going to beat, and when they swung for home, look, even though he was on the fence and there would have been a lot of surface water on the track of this during this race, its run was most probably flattered, because even though he went right along the 18 pence, he saved a lot of ground there, and he was only beaten 0.6 of a length, and you couldn't say in that race that the inside was worse than the outside because of the rain. There would have been a lot of runners in that race that just didn't handle it. Gay's pair, Nippy Nash and Tommy Terrific, both said that their runners didn't handle it, along with Monton, the rider, said it didn't handle the track either. Race 7, 109 on the screen, but only 96 in the marketplace. These were the flux. Streamer, $4 out to $5.50, back into $4.20. A big result for the captain. The captains cheered. They cheered. Go Skytrain. We all said, come on, Skytrain. Up you go there, Josh Jovi or Josh Parr. $2.80 to $4.20. I think it was SP only $3.80. It was $4.20 begging when they jumped. You couldn't give it away. Hyper, $6.50 out to $9.50, back into $8.50. On the Lookout, 17 out to 26. Hood, $6 into $5 at one stage. Started $5.50 on my board. Just Cruising, 17 into 13. Stratford, $6 out to 7, back into 6. An ideal position, 20 at 26, back into 21. Quite a few runners back, but not the winner. Skytrain got into a lovely little, there are how many runners here? 8 runners, nice little bunch field. First and second in this race, of course, drew the 2 outside alleys in a field of 8. It had 8, barrier 8 Skytrain, and Screamer had barrier 7. As it turned out, of course, Jovial Josh Parr, Skytrain, we all know, plus a Streamer, it goes well in the going. He just sat out there travelling sweetly like it always does, Skytrain. It's only got that short turn of foot. Takes very small strides, Skytrain, which is most probably one of the reasons it handles the track so well. It was able to get past. Streamer was able to get up and cover the leaders on the turn, but it was after straightening, it was quite evident that Skytrain was going to be able to get past Streamer, which it did. Fitness on its side, where Streamer was resuming. Of course, Skytrain's hard fit, and that's what you need on the bog tracks, and it was able to beat it by 1.8 lengths. It held on all right on the Lookout, who raced up near the lead and a bit closer to the fence all the way, even though they were well off. And then we came to the lucky last, and there was 104.6 on the same thing on the screen, but only 96% in the marketplace. Geez, the flux on the winner here were very strange. Havana Ray, I'll tell you what the flux were. It went from $2.50 out to $3.40 into $2.70. At one stage, I laid 5,000 against it at $2.80, and plenty against it at $3, and plenty against it at $2.90, and even laid it at, as I say, for as much section as you wanted, the 280. I might have even laid it for more than 5,000 at $2.80. And Standing Again was 50 into 40. Palace Sport, now it started equal favourite. Don't take any notice of the SPs. The SPs, bullshit. And the flux. Palace Sport, it started $3.20 equal favourite. Well, I'm telling a fib. It started $3.30, Palace Sport. Lunaire, it was the import was $7.50 out to $10. Magic Weekend, 13 out to 19, taken back into 18. Started 19. Shamandari, now the flux on it was $6.50 out to $9, killed 4 into 8, but started 10. Hard Break Hotel went from was 20 out to 26 back into 21, even 18. Falklands, $11 out to 17 or 16 back into 15, and Peck $17 into 14 back out to 15. Now this favourite, as I say, opened up 250, got to 340. You could lay, of course, the 340 was killed for 330, 320, 310, and the $3, 290, and whatever you wanted, the 280. And opening up at $4.60, second favourite was Palace Sport, and it was the first runner backed. This is why the favourite got out to $3.40, and it was $4.60 into $3.80 Palace Sport. And then when the backing came for the favourite, Palace Sport was reached for again back to $4. But then in the last 3 minutes of betting, when Havana Ray was into $2.70, you couldn't get $2.80. Palace Sport was poleaxed at the $4, $3.80, the 70, the 60. They how much do you at the 350? What do you want on it at the 350? And then at the 340, the 330, which it started at, you could still lay it at $3.30. And the favourite, they returned at $2.60, Havana Ray, SP. Now, I don't know, they must have left the ring early, the SP boys, because a blind man, he only had to walk around and find the first bookie and say, what price are you, Havana Ray? And he would have said, I'm $3. But you could have got $3.20 when they jumped. And going out in leading in this race, a bit strangely, was Heartbreak Hotel, and up on its outside was Falklands, who was instructed to go forward and try and get a break at some stage of the race. Well, Jenny Duggan on the second horse couldn't do that, and in the middle stages of this race there was quite a bit of pace. They led at 5 lengths at one stage from Magic Weekend, and Vanneray was looking at it. And the rider on, I'm going to give him the wide berth if I see him driving home anywhere. I'll go the other way. Sam Clipperton on Palasport. Well, there was only one obvious thing to do, but he went. Well, anyway, it's very easy sitting in the stand. The only thing I thought he could have done was follow the winner, Vanneray, but instead of doing that, which the second horse finished up doing, and that was Shamadani, but instead he went back, not anywhere close to the rails, but he went back to where the leaders were coming back into his face. Mainly Magic Weekend and Heartbreak Hotel, and also Falklands. And you can't lose your momentum on bog tracks, which happened to him before the turn. He wouldn't have won, but if he would have gone onto the back of Vanneray, he most probably runs second, even though the margin was about 4 lengths between second and third. He most probably runs second, but he didn't, and he lost his momentum, and he ran third, beaten 6.6 lengths. The winner absolutely trotted in. It loves the going, and it loves that track. That was about the meeting. If you had a bet, hope you had some luck. We'll talk to you later on.